Okay. Hi everyone, very good afternoon and welcome back to Crack Grade B. So let us start discussing the second part of our bank financial management related MCQs, and we are going to be again really quick in this. We are going to discuss the answers, what are the answers to the questions that has been given but not in a detailed manner. So let us start. So number one, see, we have chosen some important topics. So IRAC norms is the first one. Let's start discussing about it. So which of the following does not fits into the definition of the non-performing asset? NPA की definition में क्या नहीं आता है? See, the installment or principal of interest thereon remains overdue for 3 crop seasons for short duration crop. This much amount for short duration crop is something which is not allowed, and that is why we do not consider it under the NPA, right? This is too much of a period which has been allowed. Like for long duration crop, 1 crop season हमने दिया है. So for short duration crop, we are going to give you 2 crop seasons, right? Next we have a CCODM account shall be treated as out of order in. कब हम out of order treat करेंगे? If the outstanding balance remains continuously in excess of the sanction limit और ड्रॉइंग पावर फॉर 90 डेज. अगर 90 दिन से ज़्यादा आपकी जो ड्रॉइंग पावर से आप ज़्यादा withdraw करते हो, then we are going to label it as out of order. Any amount, now these questions are directly from the RBI circulars, right? So any amount due to the bank under any credit facility is going to be considered as overdue. अगर आपने on the due date pay नहीं किया, whatever due date has been decided by the bank, if you have not paid on that particular date, it would be considered as overdue. The rest of the options just confuse you in relation with the grace period. ठीक है? So इनको इन पे नहीं जाएंगे हम. Next is if a government guaranteed account turns into NPA, interest income on that should not be taken to income account. See why we have written government guaranteed account, again just to confuse you. सिर्फ confuse करने के लिए हमने ये question बनाया है. See भले ही गवर्नमेंट ने गारंटी दे रही है, बट इफ इट हैज कन्वर्टेड इनटू एनपीए, अगर ये एनपीए में कन्वर्ट हो गया है, देन वी कैन नॉट टेक दिस इनकम the income on such kind of accounts to our income account. Fine. Fees and commission earned by the bank as a result of renegotiation of outstanding debt should be recognized on an accrual basis. See, this is not related to the NPA directly, right? You are renegotiating, you are restructuring, and for doing that you are charging fees. आप fees charge कर रहे हैं. So such kind of fees you don't have to go for a cash receipt basis. उस basis पे करने की आपको कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. You can do it on accrual basis as well. Now, in cases of loans where the moratorium has been granted for repayment of interest, income may be recognized as. Income किस तरीके से recognize की जाती है? Accrual basis for accounts which continue to be classified as standard. अगर कोई account अभी तक standard है, right? If your account has turned into an NPA, then income recognition says that you should recognize the income on the basis of cash receipt. अगर आपको cash मिले तभी आप उस basis पे उसको recognize करिए. But over here, understand this. What we are talking about? अक्रूवल बेसिस पे ही रहेगा इफ योर अकाउंट इज स्टिल एज अ स्टैंडर्ड वन, अगर उसको स्टैंडर्ड क्लासिफाई किया गया है अभी तक, सो कीप इट टिल द अक्रूवल बेसिस. इफ लोन्स विद द मॉरेटोरियम ऑन पेमेंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट परमिटेड एट द टाइम ऑफ सैंक्शन बिकम्स एनपीए आफ्टर द मॉरेटोरियम पीरियड इज ओवर, द कैपिटलाइज्ड इंटरेस्ट कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग टू द इंटरेस्ट अक्रूड ड्यूरिंग सच मॉरेटोरियम पीरियड need not to be reversed. अब हम यहाँ पे क्या कह रहे हैं? If loans with moratorium on payment of interest they become NPA, अगर NPA बन जाते हैं once the moratorium period is over, ठीक है? आपने relaxation दिया था, now that relaxation period is over but that has converted into an NPA. So whatever income that you have already capitalized, जो आपने already capitalize कर दी है, you don't have to reverse it. There is no absolute need of doing it. Next is classification of an asset should be done on what basis? On the basis of record of recovery. Obviously किस basis पे हम NPA classify करते हैं? If you are unable to pay the amount which is due, अगर amount जो due है अगर आप वो pay नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, so उसी basis पे मैं आपको NPA declare करूंगी, or I'm going to declare you as a non-performing asset, right? And that is totally based on record of recovery. Now, working capital borrower account will become NPA if irregular drawings are permitted in the account for a continuous period of 90 days. The same kind of limit is for there for the CCOD as well, कि हम उसको out of order कब declare करेंगे, and same kind of thing is there for the working capital borrower account as well. Now the loan accounts classified as NPA may be upgraded as standard asset only if, जो NPA की तरह क्लासीफाई हैं हम उनको स्टैंडर्ड एसेट कब डिक्लेयर कर सकते हैं? सो एंटायर अरियर्स ऑफ इंटरेस्ट एंड प्रिंसिपल दे आर पेड बाय द बोरोवर, अगर वो बोरोवर को बोरोवर पे कर दे दो. In relation to the unsecured portion of NPA which is in doubtful category for 2 years, provision needs to be created. कितना provision create करना पड़ेगा? For an unsecured portion. Now even in the doubtful category you have got the secured portion, you have got the unsecured portion. Unsecured obviously for which the collateral is not available to you. अगर आपके पास collateral नहीं है and the NPA is lying in the doubtful category, what you need to do is you need to create 100% provision for that. Provision creation means out of your own money, out of the profits you are earning, you are going to take some amount, वो आप वो पैसा निकालेंगे and then you are going to create a separate balance for it so that in future if this asset goes total loss, you have got money to back it up. ठीक है, आपके पास में पैसा है इसको back करने के लिए. Next we have if principal or interest payment or any other amount wholly or partially overdue for 75 days, then it would be classified as. हम इसको कैसे classify करेंगे? So there are 3 limits over here. SMA 0, special mention account 0, special mention 1, special mention 2, right? And these are the days for which your principal or interest portion remains overdue. So if it is remaining overdue for 75 days period, this is going to lie in the SMA 2 category. Fine. A loan for an infrastructure project will be classified as an NPA. ठीक है, अगर आप commercial operations नहीं कर पाए within 2 years from the date when you were supposed to start, भले ही if you have been very regular with the payments, you have paid all the EMIs whatever was due from you, but still we are going to classify as NPA if you have not been able to start your project and 2 years have elapsed. आप अपना project ही शुरू नहीं कर पाए. If you are still paying me the EMI, that means you are utilizing your capital base. आप अपना खुद का पैसा utilize करके दे रहे हो. It's not like that your project is earning and then you are repaying me. No, आपका project तो कमा नहीं रहा है, आप खुद ही पैसा दे रहे हो. So that is the problem. Now, erosion in the value of security can be reckoned as significant when realizable value of the security is of the value assessed by the bank accepted by the RBI at the last inspection. Now, erosion in the value of security is going to be recognized as a significant. जब कितना erosion हुआ है? Such NPA may be straight away classified under doubtful category. So now the realizable value of the security is less than 50% of the value assessed. Whatever you have assessed. So suppose as a bank we have assessed 50%, right? 50 lakhs, sorry. हमने 50 लाख assess किया था. But now the realizable value is only 20 lakhs. जो आपने security दी है उसकी realizable value सिर्फ 20 lakhs ही बची है. That means now the realizable value which is remaining is less than 50% of the value that was originally assessed. So in such a case, the NPA is going to be straight away classified under the doubtful category. हम उसको कहाँ classify करेंगे? Doubtful category में. Next is if the realizable value of the security as assessed by the bank is dash of the outstanding in the borrow account, the existence of security should be ignored, ठीक है, and the asset should be straight away classified as loss asset. आपकी जो asset का जो आपने whatever collateral you have given, the from the originally assessed value now it has lost more than 90% of its value. ठीक है, 90% से ज़्यादा अपनी value जो है lose कर दी है. तो in such case we are going to straight away classify that kind of account as a loss account. ठीक है, because we know that now we cannot recover anything out of it. Whatever collateral was provided also that has also lost its value. कोलेट्रल की भी वैल्यू जो है वो चली गई है. फाइन. नाउ नेक्स्ट इज in relation to secured portion of an advance which has remained in doubtful category for more than 3 years, provisioning requirement is going to be secured portion remained in doubtful for more than 3 years. 3 साल से ज़्यादा के लिए अगर आपका secured portion भी doubtful category में रहता है, then you have to create 100% provision. I did tell you that in the doubtful category as well, we have got 2 sub bifurcation. One is secured, another one is the unsecured. The secured है, दूसरा unsecured है. Fine. Next we have infrastructure loan accounts. So which are classified as substandard will attract a provisioning of. अगर infrastructure loan accounts को हम substandard category में डाल रहे हैं, that means there has been interruption in the payment of the amounts for a period of 12 months, right? Up to a period of 12 months, you are going to be classified under substandard asset. And what is the amount of provision you need to create in relation to the infrastructure projects? Infrastructure projects के case में हमें कितना amount का provision create करना पड़ेगा? 20%. This is something that we need to create. Now, in the heading of standard asset provisioning norm for farm credit to the agriculture activities, हम बात कर रहे हैं the asset is still standard. There are no signs of converting the asset into an NPA. Asset is not going to be converted into NPA, and the asset belongs to farm credit, agricultural activities, individual housing loans, small and medium size of enterprises. So what is the provision that you need to create? 0.25%. इतना provision आपको करना पड़ेगा. Now, provisioning coverage ratio is essentially the ratio of provisioning to the gross non-performing assets. It indicates the extent of funds the bank has to keep aside to cover the loan losses. Now, the bank should ensure, right, not less than 70% of the provisioning coverage ratio. इसका मतलब क्या हो रहा है? हम कह रहे हैं कि अगर आपके 100 रुपए नुकसान होने वाले हैं, so on an average you should be having the provision of 70 rupees. 70 रुपए आपकी savings में होने चाहिए, right? You should save 70 rupees with you. Now, scheduled commercial bank shall report the credit information including the classification of account as a special mention account to CRILC on all borrowers whosoever is having the aggregate exposure of 5 crore and above. So, you have to give a borrower wise list. Borrower wise list आपको देनी पड़ेगी. किसको देनी पड़ेगी? You have to give to this central depository of information on large credits. Who has to give this? Commercial bank has to give this. और कौन से borrowers के बारे में आपको देना पड़ेगा? Whosoever has borrowed you for 5 crores and above. So aggregate exposure if these are having the signs of turning into NPA. Now, in any case, once a borrower is reported to be in default by any of the lenders, lender shall undertake the review within 30 days of such default. Suppose Axis Bank ने कहा कि that this person is going to be converted into default, or this person has done the default. So now all the lenders should do the review of such person's account within how many days? Within 30 days from such default. Now, in case where resolution plan is to be implemented, all lenders shall enter into an intercreditor arrangement. The intercreditor arrangement shall provide that any decision agreed by lenders representing by value of total outstanding credit facilities and of lenders by number shall be binding. अब हम यहाँ पे बात क्या कर रहे हैं? When there is an intercredit arrangement, so on who are the creditors to whom we are going to listen? So those who are holding 75% by value of total outstanding credit and 60% of the lenders by number. ठीक है, तो अगर एक के पास में भी पूरा है, then that is not sufficient, right? One lender, if he is having more than 75% of the value, not sufficient. You need approval of 60% of the lenders who are there, right? So this is in relation to the value, this is in relation to the quantity. Now, resolution plan shall be implemented within how many days? So 180 days from the end of review period. Now, resolution professionals involving restructuring, change in ownership of the accounts where the aggregate exposure of the lender is 100 crores and above shall require independent credit evaluation of the debt by the credit rating agencies. So, आपको when you have to involve the credit rating agencies when the exposure is of lender is 100 crores and above. For MSME accounts where aggregate exposure of the lender is less than 25 crores, ऐसे MSME accounts to which the banks have given less than 25 crores, it may be considered for upgradation to standard only if there is satisfactory performance. और satisfactory performance का मतलब क्या होता है? No payment shall remain overdue for a period of more than 30 days. So the we are giving a leeway of the 30 days for the MSMEs, and if there is no delay beyond 30 days, we can classify the MSME accounts as a standard one. ठीक है, हम MSME accounts को standard की तरह classify कर सकते हैं. There is no issue in that. Now, next is in relation to if the revised date of completion within 2 years, 1 year from the date of original completion date at the time of financial closure for infrastructure and non-infrastructure projects, then the provisioning required to be done by. देखो क्या provisioning आपको करनी पड़ेगी if the revised completion date is within 2 years or 1 year from the original completion at the time of financial closure. आपने revise किया है, right? Estimates को आपने revise किया है. So in that particular case, what is the provisioning requirement that you need to create is 0.4%. In relation to what kinds of accounts? So in relation to the infrastructure projects के case में. Now if the revised completion date is beyond 2 years and up to 4 years or 3 years from the original date of completion, then provisioning कितनी करनी पड़ेगी? 5%. Now you see, as soon as the time went up, ठीक है, आपने ज्यादा टाइम के लिए रिविजन किया है, यू हैव रिवाइज्ड इट फॉर अ लार्जर टाइम पीरियड, सो यू सी देयर इज अ प्रोविजनिंग रिक्वायरमेंट दैट हैज बीन इंक्रीज्ड एज वेल. आपकी प्रोविजनिंग रिक्वायरमेंट को भी बढ़ा दिया गया है. नेक्स्ट वी हैव okay. So the provisioning in respect of existing loans of the banks to companies having directors whose names have appeared more than once in the list of willful defaulters. So there are certain companies to which the banks have given the loan, right? And the directors of such companies, their names have appeared in the list of willful defaulters. This is going to attract the provisioning at the rate of 40%. ठीक है, तो हम इसको कितने क्या प्रोविजनिंग क्रिएट करेंगे यहाँ पे? 40%. व्हाट इज द रिस्क फैक्टर इन दिस केस? क्या रिस्क फैक्टर है? दैट द डायरेक्टर्स दैट दिस कंपनी इज हैविंग, देयर नेम इज अपीयरिंग ऑन टू द लिस्ट ऑफ विलफुल डिफॉल्टर्स. सो दैट मीन्स योर टॉप मैनेजमेंट इज समथिंग which is obviously not doing great things or correct things. That's something you can say. Now see, type of risk in which payments are interrupted by intervention of foreign governments. ठीक है, अगर आपका पेमेंट जो है फॉरेन गवर्नमेंट के इंटरप्शन से अटक गया है, then you are going to call it as a country risk. Now what is market risk? Risk which arises from the trading of asset because of change in asset prices. And does everybody gets impacted due to this? Yes. ठीक है, सभी के ऊपर इसका impact आता है. Next you have risk faced by financial institutions in which advancement of technology does not produces savings in cost. ठीक है, so that is technology risk. You are going to go you are aiming to go advance in relation to the technology, but still this is not giving you savings. So that will be labeled as the technology risk. Then we have risk which arises all activities from contingent liabilities and asset, that is called as the off balance sheet risk. Contingent liability or asset क्या होती हैं? That is dependent on some future circumstances and that is something we do not write in our balance sheet. हम अपनी balance sheet में नहीं लिखते हैं, fine, and that is why we call it as the contingent asset or liabilities. Now when the maturities of liabilities and assets are mismatched and the risk incurred by the financial intermediaries, then this risk is going to be called as the interest rate risk. ठीक है, आपकी मेच्योरिटीज डिफरेंट हैं एंड दैट इज व्हाई यू नीड टू शेल मोर. आपको ज्यादा पे करना पड़ेगा. योर एसेट्स आर नॉट बैकिंग योर लाइबिलिटीज. मेरे पास में 10,000 रुपए हैं, fine, and I have to return these 10,000 rupees within 2 months, but I have given these 10,000 rupees to somebody for on loan for a period of 6 months, right? So सामने वाला तो मुझे 6 महीने बाद देगा, लेकिन मुझे तो 2 महीने बाद ही देना पड़ेगा, right? So there is a risk that is going to be appearing for me. Now if there is malfunction in your technology system, what kind of risk is this going to be? Operational risk. Risk stating that assets are sold at low price because of sudden surge in the withdrawal of liabilities is called as liquidity risk. So liquidity risk का मतलब क्या होता है? Suppose I need to make a payment but I do not have sufficient amount to make that payment. ठीक है, मेरे पास में sufficient amount नहीं है उसको pay करने के लिए. Fine. Now risk arises which arises from insufficient capital available to balance sudden decrease in assets. It is called as the insolvency risk. ठीक है, हमारे पास में capital नहीं है and our assets have decreased. Strategic risk and reputation risk is going to be falling in the market risk, credit risk, operational risk. None of these. No, they are not going to be fall in the above 3 categories because we have seen all these 3 categories tell us about different kinds of risk, right? जो कि अभी हमने पढ़ लिया है. Now, if any kind of risk arises due to fraud, failed business or inability to maintain the business continuity, that kind of risk would be called as transaction risk. If you have not complied with the regulatory sanctions, right, or laws or rules or regulations, what kind of risk that is? That is the compliance risk. ठीक है? If you have taken adverse business decisions, now such kind of risk, why they arises? Because of your top management. आपके top management ने इस तरीके के what you can say business plans implement किए हैं that gives you a certain kind of risk, so we call it as a strategic risk. This is because your strategic apex is not taking good decisions. Reputation risk which arises from the negative public opinion may result of. अब reputation risk क्यों आएगा? Because there is a negative public opinion. Negative public opinion could be because of exposing institution to litigation, financial loss, decline in customer base, etc., etc. That has happened with Adani Enterprises. That has happened with Nestle, right? They have lost their customer base because of their wrongdoing itself. Next we have aggregated risk of the organization, उसको क्या बोलते हैं? Portfolio risk. So combination of risk together is something we call as the portfolio risk. हम उसको portfolio risk कहते हैं. Now which of the following is not an operational risk? कौन सा operational risk नहीं है? Counterparty, compliance, transaction, legal system. I might have done it. ठीक है, मैंने किया होगा. This might have happened within my organization. So I'm going to label it as an operational risk, but not the counterparty risk, right? What other party is doing, right? This is not dependent on my operations. Then we have the balance sheet risk may result in interest rate mismatch, liquidity, forex risk, etc., etc. All these items are going to impact my balance sheet, are going to impact my balance sheet values, be it on the asset side, be it on the liability side. Then we have payment and settlement risk, maybe on account of funds transfer, clearing, settlement, इन सब के वजह से होगा. Off balance sheet risk का मतलब क्या है? Off balance sheet risk means your contingent liabilities have turned into realities. Suppose you might have given a guarantee. आपने guarantee दी होगी and now the person is asking you to comply with your guarantee that you have provided. आपने जो कहा था वो करके दिखाने के लिए आपसे बोला जा रहा है. Now derivative risks are an off balance sheet risk and it includes what? Swaps, future forwards. Yes, these are the types of derivatives, right? What are derivatives contract? The value of which is dependent on any other financial asset. ठीक है, फाइनेंशियल या किसी भी तरीके की asset पे dependent होता है. In our 5-minute finance series we have talked about it. Okay, so yeah, there are 3 types of derivatives: swaps, future forwards, etc. What kinds of risks off balance sheet exposure may have? लिक्विडिटी, इंटरेस्ट, मार्केट रिस्क, ऑल ऑफ दीज. ठीक है, ये ऑफ बैलेंस शीट में ये सारे आपके रिस्क आ सकते हैं. इन्वेस्टमेंट रिस्क क्या हो सकता है? व्हेन इंटरेस्ट रेट एट विच फ्यूचर कैश फ्लोज कैन बी री इन्वेस्टेड आर अनसर्टेन. यस, एनी मिसमैच इन द कैश फ्लो since the market interest rate move in the different direction. So reinvestment risk का मतलब क्या होता है? That I have earned a certain amount on my investments. Now I want to reinvest it, but due to these market circumstances, ठीक है, interest rate fluctuation, mismatch in cash flows, I may face risk. ठीक है, मेरे री इन्वेस्टमेंट में भी मुझे कैपिटल कैश फ्लो से रिलेटेड रिस्क हो सकता है, मुझे इंटरेस्ट रेट मिसमैच की वजह से रिस्क हो सकता है. सो ऑल दीज फॉर्म पार्ट कंपोनेंट ऑफ योर री इन्वेस्टमेंट रिस्क. नाउ व्हाट इज अ काउंटर पार्टी रिस्क? where trading partners may refuse to participate or to fulfill their obligation. So yes, associated with trading, it's a financial risk and the other party has refused to perform. Features of a country risk are where the risk arises because one country has imposed the restriction. This is an external factor and the other party does not have any control in relation to such risk, and this is going to be called as your counterparty risk. Now what is an operational risk? We have understood about it because you do not have lack of internal controls. Transaction risk also is a part of operational risk. Compliance risk is also included in operational risk. So whatever you do in your operations on a day-to-day basis, if you are not doing the same and because of that there is a financial implication that comes onto you, that is your operational risk. And in operational risk we have got different kinds of bifurcations as well. हमारे पास में bifurcations भी हैं. Now, which of the following statement is not correct? So, strategic risk is a part of operational risk. Not correct, because This is a correct thing. Strategic people who are taking the decisions for you, they are the part of your operation. The top level management जो आपके लिए decisions ले रहे हैं, that is ultimately part of your operations, and that is why strategic risk is a part of operational risk as well. Now, which of the following is not an operational risk? So forex risk, this is an externally controlled item. Foreign exchange, how they move is something which I don't control through my internal operations. अपने खुद के इंटरनल ऑपरेशन से मैं इसको कंट्रोल नहीं करती हूँ, एंड दैट इज व्हाई दिस इज नॉट पार्ट of my operational risk. Now, which of the following statement is not correct? So failed internal process is a transaction risk. Bank fails to comply with regulatory requirement, it may face compliance risk. Compliance risk को integrity risk भी बोलते हैं. Reputation risk is not the operational risk. So obviously which one is not correct? The failed internal process is transaction risk. No, in transaction two parties are involved, one is you and the other one could be an outsider. But operational risk में क्या होता है? That your internal activities have caused the deficiency to you. So failed internal process, not a transaction risk. Strategic risk को define कर लिया है हमने, so no need of it. Consequences of reputation risk, it's an easy thing. Bank sanctions a loan to a large borrower. Which of the following risk it may not face? ठीक है, liquidity risk, market risk, credit risk, operational risk. देखो, क्रेडिट रिस्क फेस कर सकता है, लिक्विडिटी रिस्क फेस कर सकता है, ऑपरेशनल रिस्क फेस कर सकता है, बट मार्केट रिस्क इज समथिंग इट मे नॉट फेस. व्हाई इट मे नॉट फेस? सपोज if the market of your infrastructure companies go down, it is not necessary that all other markets are going to be impacted, right? So that is why. If a depositor deposits in office time deposit scheme, it is a zero risk investment, obviously, because there is no risk in the depositing in the post office long time savings. If a borrower repay a prematured loan, a bank may have embedded option risk. Embedded option risk का मतलब, I have sold a product, right? On Flipkart, I am selling some products and there is an option to return the goods as well, right? So what is that? That is an embedded option that I have given. And is it giving me risk? Yes. This is giving me the risk कि the other party might return the goods that they have once purchased. जो उन्होंने सामान खरीदा है वो उसको वापस कर सकते हैं. So yes, such kind of risk is there. Why value at risk is useful? क्यों useful है? Because it translates the portfolio exposure. Value at risk is the measure which tells you about what is the total risk level which is there, right? So it is a mathematical computation which is going to tell you कि आपका क्या portfolio exposures हैं, what is the risk level that you are ready to face. It meets external risk management disclosures and expectations as well. So that is why value at risk is the combination of the all kinds of risk that helps you measure that how you can manage it, ठीक है, and what is the current level of risk associated. Now क्या क्या बातें सच हैं वैल्यू एट रिस्क के बारे में? So it can tell you what to do, what not to do. It cannot substitute sound management judgment. It can tell you the risk, but it cannot tell you the management practices that you need to undertake. क्या आपको करना चाहिए? Fine. It is used to measure and manage market risk in trading and investment. Yes. ठीक है. So this is all of the above. What is back testing? Back testing क्या होती है? So it is a process where model based value at risk is compared with the actual performance of the portfolio. हमने क्या सोचा था? What is the risk threshold that we have thought and what is the actual performance? We compare this and this is something we call as the back testing. Okay, we use it for accuracy of our models. What kind of models? Risk measuring models. ठीक है, हमारे पास risk measuring models हैं through which we want to measure that what is the level of risk which is there in a particular portfolio. That is combination of security. Now through back testing we would like to know that what we have measured and what is the actual performance. अब स्ट्रेस टेस्टिंग क्या होती है? सो स्ट्रेस टेस्टिंग का मतलब क्या होता है? हाउ माय पोर्टफोलियो इज गोइंग टू चेंज बिकॉज ऑफ सर्टेन वेरिएबल्स और चेंज इन द मार्केट पैरामीटर्स. सो इफ द गवर्नमेंट हैज चेंज द रेपो रेट, हाउ इट इज गोइंग टू इम्पैक्ट माय पोर्टफोलियो. ठीक है, मेरे पोर्टफोलियो पे क्या इम्पैक्ट होगा, राइट? इफ गवर्नमेंट हैज ब्रॉट इन सर्टेन गुड चेंजेस फॉर द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सेक्टर, the kind of loans I have already given to the infrastructure sector, what kind of impact it would be having on these loans? तो अगर कोई पॉलिसी है, अगर कोई वेरिएबल चेंज हुआ है, तो इसका इम्पैक्ट क्या होगा, ये सब हम मेजर करते हैं. Now, which of the following techniques stress testing covers? So, simple sensitivity, scenario, extreme value theory, all these factors you can use it for the stress testing. जैसे कि scenario और sensitivity में क्या होता है, you consider the different kind of variables, you create the whole situation and then you measure कि अगर ये condition इतनी change हो गई, suppose repo rate अगर 6% कर दी गई, then what is going to be the impact on my portfolio? अगर repo rate 8% कर दी गई, तो फिर क्या impact होगा? So you consider all the variables that can impact you, then you try to find out that what is the range within which if they have changed, how it is going to impact my situation. ये मेरी situation को कैसे impact करेगी. Scenario analysis क्या होता है? So over here we find out that what are the number of market risk factors that is going to impact us. ठीक है, हमें किस तरीके से इम्पैक्ट करेगी सिनेरियो. जैसे हम अपने दिमाग में भी सिनेरियोस क्रिएट करते हैं ना, वी कंसीडर डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ वेरिएबल्स एंड देन वी थिंक ऑफ हाउ इट इज गोइंग टू इम्पैक्ट अस, ये हमें कैसे इम्पैक्ट करेगा. द फीचर्स ऑफ क्रेडिट रिस्क आर, क्या क्रेडिट रिस्क के फीचर्स हैं? So obviously if you are going to give the loan to somebody and they are not paying you interest or principal, you are going to incur the credit risk. आपके पास क्या आ जाएगा? Credit risk. Now, which of the following is relevant to systematic risk? So this is associated with economy. If the economy does not perform well, your portfolio will be impacted. ठीक है? When economy stagnates, your portfolio is the systematic risk is that is going to impact the economy as a whole. And you as a bank, when you have given the loan, you cannot stay away from it. आप दूर नहीं रह सकते. अगर पूरी economy गड्ढे में जा रही है, तो आप भी जाएंगे ही जाएंगे. Fine. Risk management में क्या आता है? Now this is not something which is not important. Yes. So guidelines of RBI on credit rating. Bank should apply credit rating to the borrower accounts. Maintain necessary data. Bank may also estimate the expected defaults and expected contribution. So this is something which are the guidelines given by the RBI, that how you have to manage the risk management, how you have to measure the risk to remain ahead of your what you can say, these NPA crisis. Now, populator credit rating models, there are some: Altman, Z-Score, JP Morgan, Credit Suisse, all of these are some credit rating models that you can use to assess the risk which is involved in relation to credit. Operational risk may arise on account of internal people as well as the external events. इन सभी के cases में आपको operational risk हो सकता है. Now, the transaction-based causes in the operational risk may include business volume, organization is complex, product is complex, and because of such kind of transactions, operational risk might occur for you. Now, one more thing, what is systematic risk? Where a group of banks fail due to interrelation effect. Systematic risk, I told you, it affects the economy as a whole. पूरी economy को impact करता है ये particular risk आपका, and that is why any individual bank cannot stay away from it, right? वो दूर हो ही नहीं सकते. They cannot protect themselves from it. 1998 Capital Accord framework accounted for credit market as well as defined component. We are talking about the Basel norms कि उन्होंने किस तरीके के risk को cover किया. So credit market and defined capital component, all these were there. Back testing का question हम देख चुके हैं. Under Basel 2, they tell you that what is the maximum capital you need to maintain in order to cover your risk. अपने risk को cover करने के लिए आपको कितना capital maintain करना है. Regulation of risk management at international level has been taken up by the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision. Okay. Next is tier 2 or supplementary capital consists of what kind of capital? Undisclosed reserves, general provisions, asset revaluation reserve. Yes, supplementary capital का मतलब क्या होता है? Apart from your main capital, what is the additional capital you are having? And this is going to be they are going to include revaluation reserves as well, undisclosed reserve, and your provisions also. This is something we do not include in your tier 1 capital. ठीक है, tier 1 में हम इसको include नहीं करते हैं. Where we talk about common equity की वहां पे हम बात करते हैं. Now, which of the following is not included in tier 2? Paid up capital. Why? Because it is a part of tier 1 where we talk about common equity as a whole. Now, as per the Basel II revised accord, market discipline किस पे focus करता है? More disclosure, half yearly disclosure, core disclosures. That means all about disclosures. As a bank, you need to make all these disclosures on a timely level so that you can assess the risk, so that your regulators can also assess the risk. And Basel II is based on minimum capital, supervisory review and market discipline, all of these. And risk का मतलब क्या होता है? Possible loss that can happen on to the occurrence of event. So these were all the important questions that are there from your IRAC norms as well as from the Basel Accord or the risk management chapter. So thank you so much. This is it in this particular class. I hope you have liked the video. If you did, then please do not forget to give us a thumbs up.